we're in an hour in time where we really need to do that, put it at the door and focus on saving our nation and our freedom. Because that's what's at stake. I mean, that's how serious.
Oh, it's getting more serious
by the day.
I mean, look at this Orlando shooting, and now the gun thing is coming around again, and they're really giving up for it. Who knows? So
I think that's why they do these things. I don't even know that Orlando's shooting was totally genuine. I'm even prepared to believe that it could have been partly a false flag.
yeah, I think it was partly, well, what they do for sure, whether or not who's instigating it, but they certainly do get their, what they call crisis actors out there. I'm sure, have you seen some of those?
Oh, yeah.
Crisis actors out there?
Does anybody know who Robert Steele is? Robert David Steele?
Yeah.
Okay, he's a friend of mine. We communicate frequently. This morning he sends me an email. I'll let you read it freely if you want. He asked me if I know any police or law enforcement in Orlando, because he knows I live down here in Philadelphia. Because he doesn't believe it. He believes it was a false flag. He wants to see pictures of the dead bodies. I want to see death certificates. That's what I want to see.
Forensic evidence.
Yeah.
Well, here's my question. How do they get these doctors from the hospital on board with their, how do you explain all of that?
Well, they could have a whole team that travels. They had a 3-hour stand down. This is so critical and very noteworthy. They had a 3-hour stand down where everybody locally, all local law enforcement was time out, stay away, and it was under the control of the feds.
And the fact that there was no, there were no ambulances or anything around at the time when most of that was being videotaped or for television.
This is really hot in the news right now. There's a lot of investigators writing articles on all the
Well, my wife is was born in New York City. Her parents were Puerto Rican, so I'm really quite close to quite a large Puerto Rican community, and we actually know some people who allegedly were involved, and I'm trying to run it down whether or not there's anything there or not. I mean, it's like, and when I tell some of our family friends about how this could be a false flag, I guess they look at you, oh, are you crazy? They think I'm going crazy.
So you're saying it didn't happen, huh? Nobody died.
Well, I don't know whether anybody died, but
Well, I think that people died. I mean, I've talked to people who know some who died, but
who did it?
How do you know? You know, how can you mistake 50 people for 20 versus 20? Then it's 50. Well, how do you? You might miss one or two, miscount, but you know, discrepancy of 30 people.
Did you see the YouTube video of them carrying these people? And
then they set them down. They're heading to the clothes.
They're heading to the clothes. Now, how do you explain that?
So many strange things.
Very strange.
Let's
Very crazy.
topic conversation. Continue introduction.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of things.
Yeah. We can talk about that.
My name is Nancy Owen. I grew up in South Florida. In my hometown, also Escalon. Also lived. His mother taught in the elementary school I lived in, or where I went to. Apparently, there's a connection, according to LaRouche, to Pablo Escobar, who at the time was one situation, which, so there's a resurgence of that. I've got a lot of information on Pablo Escobar and George Bush.
What exactly is the connection?
The connection is when Pablo Escobar began doing the cocaine, and he didn't do it until 1981. He ran a couple of kilos. Prior to that, they used to mainly do marijuana, and the locals weren't really too concerned because it was marijuana. In 1981, when Pablo Escobar realized that nobody was going to stop him, because the local law enforcement weren't actually helping him and protecting him, he decided to start running cocaine primarily on his planes. He said that the heck with the marijuana, just go straight with the cocaine. when that happened, George Bush, and several other people got word, and they came down. George Bush didn't oppose Paul, he worked with him, he helped build up the Central and South America too.
So does this intersect with Daniel Hunter's work on the drug running that the hijackers are doing against?
Okay, can you say that again?
This intersects with the work Daniel Hunter did on the drug running the hijackers were doing out of Venezuela.
I'm hearing two different things. I'm hearing that the pilots came out of Venice, and I'm also hearing they came from the town next to Clueston, which is where I'm from, which is LaBelle. So there's two different stories on that.
You drove from LaBelle?
I live here in Tampa.
Oh,
now.
okay.
Yeah,
All right, I'm Craig Botiga, originally from New Jersey, got a member of Weird Change New Jersey, Weird Change Philadelphia. I confronted many high-level people, Michael Chertoff probably being the biggest fish in the pond. Governor Christie, Lieutenant Governor Laura Bernardo, almost a little local, nobody. Did not hear about the year. Back in the game.
How did Christie respond?
I almost got my question in at first time, and security team surrounded me. I walked in as press, camera was dressed, and once they realized I wasn't supposed to be there, they kind of were on top of me. And every time I moved or shifted, they were like informing the rest of the crew of my movements. And came time for Q&A, and I got the point, and then the security guy went like this, and then the point went over there. So, it's basically about a mass fluoridation building for staff in New Jersey. It's like $5 billion implementation. I was just going to hammer on to it. Eventually. No, I walked out and they started threatening me.
Because you probably announced it, like we've done before, you announce that they see your photo, if you're on your profile, that you're going to show up.
Well, here's the thing. When I walked in security, I showed my driver's license, didn't sign in, didn't know nothing, no name, nothing. Put the camera in the belt, went in. I didn't have a wallet on me, all I had on me was the camera and key. Walked in, I showed them the belt, showed my ID, and when I left, it took them 2 hours to find my house. I got local police, Pennsylvania State Police, New Jersey State Police, some other unnamed suit dude. Governor Christie had protection. Showed up my house door. So.
Really? What'd they say?
First question is where's the firearm? First question. And then they were going to arrest me because they said that somebody had said I was making threats in the press conference. And I said, well, I had the whole time from the time I walked in the door, time I walked out the door, I'm taking it. There you go. So I let them listen to it for 45 minutes, and they all agreed, and we're going to go and they left.
Good for you.
So, never turn off the camera.
No, yeah, you embarrassed them twice. I'm using banduser.com, and I've heard there are other apps that I haven't tried yet, like Periscope, that allow you to stream live, and they save the recording if your phone is destroyed by.
Yeah, worse than the days of tape cameras.
Right.
That is the way to do it.
Try to have as many vantage points as possible. It doesn't take up your phone memory, it stores it on the Banduser site, and it's free unlimited storage.
Really?
Yeah, through your phone. If you use your computer, you have to pay for it.
What's the name of it now?
DAMBuser.com.
DAMBuser.com.
Yes. You got it.
Yeah, I've heard of those services, but I never knew a name.
And I wasn't parked near the venue, I was parked like 4 blocks away in traffic. So there's no way they could have
Well, we could suggest then that they have your image.
Oh, yeah, they had to be big.
You're on some kind of a list.
Yeah.
Well, you're on
Yeah.
I know why.
He's just higher on the list now.
Yeah, I've been there for a while.
Well, a bunch of the Weird Change Tampa, me and 3 other Weird Change Tampa members who aren't here right now. Well, Sammy Schlegel, Alex Schlegel, and John Jenstrom. And back in 2011, we confronted George W. Bush at his book thing. Yeah. Well, yeah, John used his loud voice because he couldn't restrain himself any further.
See, that's why I like working with Matt LaPage. I don't know if you remember that. He's a maniac. He's like 6'5", and his voice just goes every time. We did a conference, the executive response to 9/11. We had Ari Fleischer, Chad Snow, Shirk off, John Woo, all on a stage in front of us for about 5 minutes.
Wow.
And we kind of placed ourselves around the audience,
Yeah.
and every 10 minutes, one of us just started jumping off the screen.
Yeah.
So, Chertoff and Ari Fleischer, what were the other two names?
Chad Snow, John Woo, Ari Fleischer, Shirk off.
So there were two Zionists at least, right?
And John was the White House counsel for Bush.
Holy shit, why are these people all on one stage in front of us here?
Yeah.
And this was at what time did you go?
This was called the Executive Response to 9/11. It was actually, believe it or not, held in the Constitution Center in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Did you ask him
But
about
who
the,
was the sponsor?
Honestly, I really don't remember. It was back in 09. Beginning of 09.
Oh, nine.
Yeah, a while ago.
did you ask John Woo about the idea of crushing children's testicles?
We
of the
couldn't get
parents?
anywhere near John Woo.
Right.
Anywhere near.
Because he said it was okay if you crushed children's, a terrorist's testicles in order to get the parents to talk. Yeah, White House counsel John Woo for
But
Bush.
after we were all escorted and we were out of the building, Luke was there that night. And Luke took the southeast corner exit. Me and my little crew, we took the exit onto this street, whatever, right across from Thunder Reserve. And that's where Chertoff came in. That's where we got him. And so Luke went around. It's kind of like a conference room with all big open windows. We got John Woo on tape talking to Helen Hall, like they were sitting next to each other talking. Now, the funny thing is, when we were hanging out our TV in front, I personally gave Helen Hall a copy of the sheet. Didn't notice it was him until I looked up and looked over. Helen Hall.
Oh. Yeah.
Or Chertoff was there and all, so doesn't that suggest that whatever this was, it was a, official?
It was like some official conference for young people and one people. I mean, it was like $50 a ticket to get in.
Probably a propaganda opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, there's only.
Temporarily.
Probably the whole conspirators follow-up meeting to lay the groundwork for the coming propaganda or something.
Well, it was in 09, so it was kind of off of that. None of these guys were still in their
Or maybe
positions or anything.
maybe they were responding to the formation of various 9/11.
Yeah, right, it's a pep rally to try to say, just keep pushing the propaganda, the shit will take everything.
Yeah, and we also showed them eyes and shit, we blended in and.
Was there anything in the paper about it?
Not
The marketing,
the advertising press, not an advertising, yeah. It was fine. As soon as we jumped up and started screaming, we were shuffling out the doors quickly.
Well, that's what kind of happened when John shouted out, because first we were planning for him to go out in his truck with a bullhorn, you know, in the parking lot, so where they wouldn't be so quick to respond and everybody could hear, you know, start announcing whatever information. But he couldn't restrain himself and start shouting 9/11 an inside job. Well, then they grabbed not just him, but then me and the two others, Sammy and Alex Schlegel. And then, you know, they were bending Alex's arm behind his back and saying, don't resist, don't resist. How am I resisting in any way, shape, or form? He
Were
said,
these cops or were they just?
yeah, Sumter County Police, because this is up in the villages. And, yeah, just police as far as I know.
The village is Ocala
The village in Sumter County.
in Florida?
That's
Yeah.
close to Ocala.
Yeah.
Well, it's towards Ocala. It's about an hour south of Ocala.
Okay, wow.
And, you know, I said, get your hands off of me, and they didn't touch me after. I said, I'm walking with you. I didn't say anything. Well, you're being disruptive anyway. Well, so I was walking around. And as I was walking away, I turned around and unfolded my big poster board with big fat letters that says patriotsquestion911.org on it. And I shouted that out twice. You can see all this on the video. We Are Change Tampa confronts George W. Bush. Alex Jones called us heroes, by the way. Because he confronted him, and you know, he got ridden around in a car for when George W. Bush was running for governor in Texas. And he got,
I was
Alex,
right back in '97, shit.
yeah, I think that's right. And so Alex was being driven around and, you know, for a few hours, and so he didn't have a chance to do anything, and just to intimidate him. So that's why Alex highly respected us for doing this. And, so get back to that point where I unfolded that. PatriotQuestion911.org is a site that has a lot of military officials, you know, former military brass, pilots, air traffic controllers, architects and engineers and scientists. It's just a whole bunch of credentialed and degreed authorities in one site. That's why I put that on there. I don't think we made much of a difference, but after that, the Secret Service questioned us and asked us, well, you know, we just want to make sure you're not hurting, and you're not here to hurt him or anything. And, you know, I spoke up and said, well, you know, George W. Bush said that he watched the plane hit the building.
First plane hit first.
Yeah, right. And that wasn't on TV that day. It was on TV the next day, which is the Naudet brothers footage. They were filming a documentary. So maybe George W. Bush saw it on closed circuit TV, being part of the conspiracy, or how else could he have seen it? And then the Secret Service head lady starts chuckling and laughing. I said, yeah, it's real funny, isn't it? And then that's when they let us go. Okay, you can go, we're fine. So we went off to the Golden Corral just around the block, and we ate our lunch. Never heard another thing.
Well, with the two people in New Jersey group, Obama was on the election trail in '08. Governor Corzine sponsored some kind of fundraiser or speech or something, like a rally they did. And we got right up to the door, and suit, the usher was like 500 people led into the parking lot. There was hundreds of them out there. You know, different ones. Back when we pink was that pink.
Okay.
Yeah, code pink there.
Cindy Sheehan?
No, I don't think she's there. I remember her telling me.
I think she has a handler. At one of her appearances here in St. Pete a few years ago, the lady who seemed to be her handler just, for no reason, said, oh, you're one of those 9/11 truth guys. And I haven't said a word. So she probably found me online.
I just have a question. Are we still on introduction?
Well, we sort of mixing it up here.
Oh, God,
But,
I haven't heard you. Were you next?
I am, it said newbie or veteran, right? You don't get newer, I'm like a little brand newbie.
Oh, good.
Because this guy, who I thought was gonna be some like, woo, and the more he talked, the more I was like, oh, maybe you're not so crazy, maybe like you actually know something I don't. Because I like to live in a little land of unicorns and near bears where bad things don't happen and people don't conspire to kill people. But regrettably, hanging out with him, I'm like, oh crap, bursting my whole unicorn thing. So I've always been a student of history and the Constitution, and I'm in law school now, so.
Where at, here?
Cooley.
No.
I got accepted to Stetson. I always feel like I have to throw that out as a caveat, right? Like, I got accepted to Stetson, don't worry, but I didn't get a half scholarship there, so it's just sweet. But, yeah. But, you know, there's, what was the first movie?
I exposed her to the explosive evidence film, and actually.
Yeah.
yeah.
Dissolution. And then, what was was that the one with the, yeah. So, I worked with veterans for a really long time, so I have former students who were at the Pentagon that day. High-ranking, some pretty high-ranking military folks that my folks as friends. And they were already telling me this stuff, like, don't buy into it. But they don't tell you that. They just kind of sort of tell you that, and then let you figure it out. But it was interesting. So we said, pack your tinfoil hat and come with me.
Well, I'm Jason Kenny, and the quick shot of it is I started my 9/11 activism in Boston around 2005 and 6, and I worked on conferences and street demos and things there. And then I moved down here in 2008. But done street level activism, organizing conferences, putting on films, that sort of stuff is the kind of thing I've done. And put together a couple meetups. I started a meetup in Boston. Worked with Mia Campbell to start it.
What's that?
The film that Daniel Sanjad and Matt Reed did.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? We premiered that in Jersey City. Jersey, New Jersey. He was there. Willie.
Sure. So, in Boston, we did a lot of events, like bringing in William Rodriguez, for instance. Big events in the hall with Richard Gage and a whole lot of people. Robert Bowman at the time, when he was alive, etc. So anyway, so I'm here now, and I've been off and on with the meetup, and I just really would like to activate people and get things happening.
Yeah, I feel in an election year, more about people are more paying attention to it. And kind of time to go, hey, look,
Yeah.
and it works.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Yeah, plus we have the 16th anniversary now.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, you want to start thinking about it, because you just don't want to let time slip away, and then, it's the 15th, and it's 11th, and what do we do about it? So,
What brought you to Tampa, or down here?
at the time, I moved down here, to be close to my mother. She was getting on, and she passed away 3 years ago. So, I had a girlfriend here. So, that's how I have relatives. My family's been here on and off for a long time. My sister was in for a long time. So it wasn't too tough a transition. Yeah. So we got a little intros, and we sort of done some of this stuff.
Oh, what about,
What,
can you introduce this lady here?
oh, all right, before me.
My name is Jeannie. I'm Mike's friend. I know him for 1 or 2 years. So we exchanged a lot of information. I'm originally from Germany. Being here for war, so I didn't want to stay there anymore. I came over here. I was actually born in Czechoslovakia. My parents left the country. I was 10 years old when the communists came. So I experienced that phase, communism and everything. Then lived in Germany for a long time until the wall came down. I experienced all those political events. I was watching very closely. I'm a watcher. I watch everything all the time. So I have pretty much a lot of knowledge of that. So I came here, and now I'm watching what's going on here. That's
Kind of reminiscent.
something,
Yeah.
I cannot believe why people
Right.
can vote for somebody like Hillary or something.
Yeah.
Like mind-blowing to me. Why can't they see it? I mean, it's all what already happened in the past.
Yeah.
So it's mind-blowing for me. And also I see the faults where it has. It's very clear. I mean, I listen to Art Jones and everything around. So I'm learning. I'm here to learn. So I'm not myself an activist yet, but I'm learning, observing. It's very interesting.
You graduated from University of Munich,
Yeah.
history.
It's history. Yes, I'm very much into history, politics, all my life. So
The question is, which version of history did you do there?
kind of ancient history, but then I caught up with the modern. You know, first I started back then in the far, ancient history, but then that brought me to like a domino effect to the front. And I'm like all about what's going on really now. So I think caught up to you guys. 9/11 and everything that's going on around.
Yeah.
Pretty much there.
So this is a good mix of people, newer folks and veteran type of activists. So, Chris, Mike, Craig, what's the next best thing to talk about in the productive forum? You know, and one of my questions on my mind is, can we have a core group of people that are going to organize some kind of event or public or political that we can rally to participate in? And
Absolutely.
what's the nature of it going to be?
Personally, in my opinion, I feel an anti-Hillary Street action, kind of like every week, just kind of saying, yo, look at this. You really want to vote for Hillary? You know, stumble all that, because that's kind of what we did back in Cleveland, you know, on both ends. But, you know, that's, in my experience, in an election year, getting people's attention to the negative aspects of whatever candidate is horrific, generally works.
Yeah.
Well, I'm more concerned about the rigged voting system. Have you heard of Bev Harris, anyone?
Yeah.
All right. She runs blackboxvoting.org and stays on top of all the voting irregularities. She was featured in Hacking Democracy, a documentary that's been aired on HBO a few dozen times. All right.
And you said the name again?
Hacking Democracy has Bev Harris.
What was, Harris?
Dev, as in Beverly?
Dev, yeah.
Yeah, Bev Harris, blackboxvoting.org is their site. And there are a few other
I
actors.
still didn't get it. You're talking now about a radio program?
Yeah, right, Hacking Democracy is about 10, I think it came out in 2006, 10 years old, and it features Bev Harris, but they still keep playing it from last time I checked. But yeah, her website, blackboxvoting.org, stays
Black box what?
voting, voting as in the voting at
Oh,
the
black
polls.
box voting.
Yeah, at the polls, I'm a voter.
I think that's what I'm saying, black box.
I'll talk about it. And it's pretty well updated, showing all the voting irregularities, how votes are flipped and changed and unaccountable because we don't have hand-counted paper ballots, which would be able to be checked if only for the case of recount. And so I called her a few months ago on a radio show because I'm interested in starting a political action committee to stop water fluoridation and another one for other purposes.
Didn't that just get shot down?
In 2013, yeah, they did, when they got sued as county commissioners, Charlie Justice and Janet Long, but I'll tell you about that in a moment. It's see, I want to take it out of their control. I think we could write our own laws by, first we have to start a PAC, political action committee, and then you can circulate a petition. Once you have, here in Pinellas County, it's 10% of voters are required to sign a petition in order for it to be put on the next ballot. And then you can change the county charter, or in the case of a city, the city charter, which is basically the constitution for the county or the city or the municipality. And then you can take it out of the issue out of the control of the county commission or city council, so they can never say another thing about it. So that's why I'm considering starting a political action committee. And when I called up Bev Harris a few months ago on the Power Hour radio show, I asked her about this. Well, what's the feasibility of holding a vote for a referendum, you know, a petition and referendum? And she said, well, not only do you need poll watchers, but you also need central tabulator watchers, as they did in San Marcos, Texas last year, where they voted out water fluoridation, October of last year, 2015, and they had a central tabulator watcher in the room. Somebody came in the room and then they walked back out because they saw there was a watcher there, and they didn't bother trying to rig the votes. But there were other cases, she told me, that she can tell me about later, and somebody else called into the show a little while before that, a few days before that, to say that, yeah, there was a lot of attempted vote rigging. So apparently you can monitor and document the vote rigging, might not be able to stop it until we get hand-counted paper ballots. So that's one option. I've been having the will of the people heard. Now, just another big cause of mine is community currencies. We need more people to to make their voice heard and let the politicians know that if we can raise their standard of living, we'll have the time to become civically involved. And so I'm promoting community currencies, time banks, barter networks, swap shops, cooperatives, and community gardens. I'm a coordinator for Clearwater Hours. We have 28 businesses signed up. I haven't had enough time to focus on that more, so I can tell it we can get together if whoever's interested in promoting that and checking out the site.
Did you hear about that recent Bitcoin that got hacked? It was in the papers today and yesterday. It was not Bitcoin, the other one, one of the up-and-coming virtual.
Litecoin or Dogecoin?
I forget, but it's in all the papers today and yesterday, Times, Wall Street, and local St. Pete. But anyways, it pretty much put them out of business.
Yeah.
It was a huge loss.
That's why I'm not for cryptocurrency. That's one big reason, is because they're hackable. You can't handle them between each other. They're not tangible. Right. So you use your web app.
Create a wallet. Take the dummy and an email address to create a Bitcoin wallet.
But all those that you just mentioned, they're all worthy, very merited, causes. But here's the reality. I mean, what we have right now, we're looking at a situation in our country where we could see in a very short period of time military on our streets, curfews,
We're seeing the exercise.
travel limitations, and our society is turned upside down.
Yeah.
The banks crash, the banks close.
Yeah.
We have, limited funds. I mean, we are like on a string, dangling. And, I agree with you on all those issues. They're all very important. But I really feel the trigger to shoot the beast that is trying to steal this from us is 9/11. 9/11 is the potential weapon. It is a nuclear weapon for we the people. If we could pull the trigger and make it explode nationwide and cause an interest, that's why we're targeting this one particular city, and this one university. That's not to say we only want to target that, but we want to maybe use it as a model to ignite and get wheels rolling, because we've done nothing but be hamsters in a wheel for a number of years, and not just the 9/11 movement. I was involved in all kinds of stuff before 9/11, since 1980, and I've seen it just spin our wheels.
So, don't forget, what's the focus of this project you're doing?
Well, to reach the sheeple, reach people that aren't reached, that are just happen to be listening to a radio show, and to ignite interest in them to the crime of history, 9/11. It is the greatest crime America has ever seen or happened, and I believe the world, other than maybe the atomic bomb.
So the strategy of targeting this station, they just have a big national reach.
Well, no, they have a huge Ohio reach,
Ohio.
and the university, Ohio State University, and then there's another station in Cincinnati that's a high-powered, one of the highest-powered AM stations in the nation, WLW. It's also surrounded by universities. It's a possible environment of reaching a lot of people quickly, cheaply, all at once.
Yeah.
We have WMNF here, and then there's some other privately run.
But do they have open forum type radio shows where you can
I
just?
would like.
Yeah, I know, you
If
used
we
to
can-
do it, right?
Oh, I do, yeah, I try to. It's just that, I'll name names, the program director, Rob Lori, does not take my call. Yeah, he is, and several other activists to whom I've spoken. One who's tried to volunteer there. I could spend a long time explaining.
But see,
how
but
it's different. But if we can talk to each other and do chronic caller coaching, I think, and maybe have a chat room where, you can say, well, I'm in the queue, I'm ready, they're going to take my call, I'm third in line, they told me, I'm going to talk about this, oh, yeah, well, maybe you want to add in that, and then, we can, that's what I do with a friend of mine sometimes, we call them as
You call phone about it.
Right, and then stick up for each other sometimes when they
That's
cut
right.
us off,
Yeah, when they
for
cut
no
off, say,
good
hey,
reason.
what about freedom of speech,
Yeah, this is very important because it's local, this WMNF thing, but what I wanted to say here, first of all, with your issue of the fluoridation, is this a just a means to an end, or is this the end itself, or what? Because I believe the fluoridation issue, oh, here's my thinking about it, and I have not done much study, but fluoridation has been with us for years, right? Am I correct?
2002, they voted it in Pinellas, in 2003, they
So
instituted
here's
it.
my point. No, I have been reading about the fluoridation issue for decades. I know going all the way back to 1970s, I believe. And yet, if the fluoridation issue was a threat, then it seems to me like we would not have the demographics that we have. One could argue it is the reason why we have all these wacko millennials on the college campus is due to fluoridation. I don't know, but in terms of health itself, apparently I have been drinking fluoridation water all my life, and I don't feel like it's hurt me. I'm 79 years old. I'll be 80 in October. I don't believe I've been hurt at all by fluoridation. Maybe
We have to do a toxicity test of blood, hair, nails, and urine to really see how much your burden is.
But that I thought.
Schedule over the last 30 years also.
What?
That you weren't impacted by the vaccine schedule, which not always true.
Yeah, there's so many things.
Although I
Yeah,
don't know
it works now,
every
kind of
there is. But what I'm getting at is, are these pivotal issues, are they going to get masses of people?
Yes, because, and I've heard before, I answered that, forgot to mention that also in Portland, Oregon, they voted it out in 2013. Again, no thanks to the will, to the city council, the will of the people. So, you know, we have two precedents, two models that we could follow to get it out by referendum. In 2013, when Charlie Justice and Janet Long, the two new county commissioners came in to replace the two of whom voted against it, Nancy Bostock and Neil Brickfield, and we convinced them to vote against it, me and several other activists. And so the main platform, playing on the platform for Charlie Justice and Janet Long, was that they would bring water fluoridation to the vote and vote against it, and they did. And on the day of the vote, only the day before the vote, Dennis Havluck called me up. He's a reporter for 970 AM WFLA, and he did a good phone interview with me. The day of the vote, he said every half hour in the news break, they played an excerpt of that interview saying, well, Chris Steiner of Mayor Change Tampa opposes water fluoridation. We're having a vote today, and that's why credit to so many people coming out in opposition to water fluoridation. I was an overwhelming opposition to it, supermajority, because we never had a majority before, but for the first time, we had not just a majority, but a supermajority. Overflow capacity, it was about 8-1. I would say at least 100 people showed up, and I have to go back and look at the video to do a tally. But it was about 8-1 and against it. The people who came to speak and address the council and say, heck no, and then 65 emails against it to 5-4 of the people who didn't even bother, didn't show up. So I think that we have had more than adequate opposition to it if it were brought to a vote.
Well, here's my question. Is the fluoridation issue more important than the 9/11 issue?
It's important for all sorts of activism because people are dead and dying as a result of it. It's a sedative, and people, it lowers your IQ, and people.
Lung cancer, too.
Yeah, it's like people on the battlefield. You want to wound a soldier so that at least one other soldier has to take care of him.
But you don't know whether or not they were voting against it because of for economic reasons, that they're going to save money by not
There's collusion with the population.
Right. Well, see, we used to get it before they voted it out. They got it from Mosaic Phosphate Mining Company,
Right.
and then here in Florida, South Carolina,
Right.
Well, I personally think that it's a.
Well, they wanted to save $70,000 per year, so when they voted it back in, they started
Could I
to get it from
interject
China.
something? I'm like chomping at the bit here. I didn't get to finish my point, and it's directly related to this. And with all due respect, everything I'm gonna say is gonna counter what you just said. Okay, I watched firsthand, okay, Occupy Wall Street. I was involved in both Occupy Wall Street and the Tea Party in Columbus, Ohio, a very pivotal state in the whole American political scenario. I watched firsthand these two groups be hijacked and derailed off of a very narrowly focused issue of the monetary system, the central banking system, which is the engine of tyranny. It is the engine of tyranny. Case closed. I watched within Occupy Wall Street, they begin to be divided by all these peripheral issues, all these pet projects. All of them were worthy. I agree with you on the water. I happen to side with him on the merits of fluoridation. The evidence and science is pretty clear. But anyways, put that aside. I watched these two groups be derailed and sidetracked and diffused because of the multitude of issues. And this is something we have to guard against. We have very limited amount of time. If this scenario, we could have a scenario in the very near future. If Britain exits the euro on the 23rd, they are predicting this could have a domino effect all around the world. We could see an economic collapse like we've never seen before. We are being warned by economic expert after expert. All the good ones that have been right in the past are all predicting we are on the verge of a huge collapse. If this happens, it will be the perfect scenario to issue martial law, executive order, suspend the Constitution. They have this in place right now. So all these petty issues, and please forgive me for using the word petty.
Well,
fluoridation is not petty.
You're protecting yourself because you know you're educated. You can protect yourself and be a better activist.
All I'm
I would like
saying
to comment that
is we have to be focused, man.
I was in
9/11.
Portland, Oregon,
Stay focused on one
as a
thing.
young man. I went
Be
to
general.
Portland, Oregon in 1968. Believe it or not, we're talking about fluoridation. And so, if they haven't been able to do anything about fluoridation since 1968, if they haven't been able to get a fire lit that's going to sweep, I don't think this is the way to go. I didn't say that I'm against, I don't have a position on fluoridation other than what I'm saying right now, that if it were that bad, I think I would be kind of like in a nursing home by now. But I'm willing to concede that there's a risk. Although, when you do that, you have to get into why aren't they doing this? These people are not against us, the city commissioners, the people who are doing it. They're not necessarily our enemies. They must have some reason. But the point I'm getting at is nothing is as critical as this. This is so important. We are actually on the verge of, I agree with him, we're on the verge of the martial law, we're on the verge of a complete takeover of our country, and white people are going to be really in jail for being racist and white and all the things that we've done wrong in the world. This is so obvious, isn't it? You don't see that.
And if that happens, what good is it going to do if we win the fluoridation argument?
Yeah.
What is that going to do for us?
People will be
If we're in jail or if we have martial law, where then they're going to limit
That's why I
everything.
think we agree that the economic issue is so important. And Occupy Wall Street, they wanted.
But we have a silver bullet to shoot the beast, and it's called 9/11, the crime of 9/11. We have the goods. We have the evidence to convict these bastards,
Here's
man.
one very important distinct point.
Oh, we know.
Here's one
Well,
very,
there's them that really know the whole story of the day.
here's one very quick point, is that,
I'm estimating there's probably 50.
Oh, okay, you're just saying.
50 people in this world that actually know what really happened.
well, you can here's one point, you can educate everybody on the intricacies of the New World Order, of 9/11, of fluoride and chemtrail, but it's not as effective as if you get somebody involved in an alternative, equitable commerce media like community currencies is my favorite, because then they have the time to talk to each other about all these other issues.
Okay.
And then you can get into the intricacies. So don't ask your Occupy Wall Street is demanding and protesting. Well, why ask your debt enslavers for a jubilee when you can issue your own currency? You know, you can trade amongst yourselves. You can, like I mentioned all those other ones, but I think community currencies are best because you can talk, you can hand them to somebody. You know, Time Bank is digital, cryptocurrency is digital, and those are cryptocurrencies besides are limited. So your human productivity is limited only by time, but a cryptocurrency like our monetary system shows that because there isn't enough currency and credit in circulation, well, that's why people don't have enough time to, you know, they're scrambling after less and less dollars. And, you know, in the Patriot community, a lot of folks think that, well, the Federal Reserve is inflating the economy. Well, they're not. That's the thing is that there's less and less currency and credit. See, the prices are raising, but inflation causes that, right? But so does deflation. But you can see in Venezuela, they have inflation, they have hyperinflation, which means you have bills of increasing denominations and people are flush with cash. So they'll go out and empty the store shelves before the prices rise again because they have plenty of cash. But with deflation, you have full store shelves like we have here, and you don't have enough currency. So that's why I want to grease the skids more with community currencies. We issue the currency to local businesses every 3 months. We give them 20 hours worth.
So I just want to interrupt just to say that the focus of why we're bringing up these different topics, not what cryptocurrency, fluoridation, all this stuff, it's to decide amongst us what's the most viable action we want to take, what could we take as a group, what most interests us, what most motivates us, you know, to actually create some event or action that we want to do. So it's obvious we all have these interests and we variously have various passions about them. But I guess what can we agree on that we would all sign up for?
So let's
First of all, we have to decide
Yeah.
where are we going with this? If we're talking about trying to get to the quote-unquote masses, or whether or not we are trying to bring together the most consciously aware people that can form some kind of a nucleus that will be able to trigger events that do get the attention of the masses. I don't believe that you can go from one little community meeting to another and pass out folders and pass out leaflets and build the kind of mass movement by doing it individually with little meetings and stuff like that. Little
Everyone
issues.
has to follow the cards, though, you know.
Because to do that, you need to have control of the media. If you were Rob Lori from WMNF sitting here at this table and say, let's go for it, we got a means to get to the masses. We don't. We have to get to each other being defined as those few people, maybe one out of every 10,000 who have figured out what's going on. We have to get ourselves together. That's what I don't like so far about the 9/11 people that I've met. I exchanged emails, I exchanged phone numbers, I did everything. I got on the conference call and I found that everybody wants to do just their own thing. Nobody really wants to meld together. It's just, you know, until we do that, we can't go anywhere.
You and I exchanged emails, and you emailed me, and I didn't email you, and I apologize to you for that, and I was just caught up. Can I
I'm not asking
finish?
for apologies, I'm just making an
Can I
observation.
finish, please? I listened to you, please. Let's respect one another's time in talking, and let's not try to dominate either. You know, this is unfortunate. I was really sad that I forgot to email you. But you're right. You're absolutely right. This Lone Ranger business needs to stop. this big me and big ego crap, one man running this group or that group, that needs to stop. We need to join together in a team effort. And we need to figure out what is the most powerful noise and message we can send on a topic to get the greatest amount of response and substance. We need to figure this out with logic, not emotion. I heard, things, we have to follow our heart. No, we have to follow logic. We have to follow what will work. And right now, the greatest success story on 9/11 is the A&E movement. Richard Gage, architects and engineers.
Followed my heart promoted.
Yeah, absolutely. When I talk to people, the very first thing I do, man, there's almost 3,000 architects and engineers. If they try to say that I'm crazy, are you going to say these 3,000 architects and engineers? That's our leverage, man. That is our strength. This is huge. This is unprecedented. Yeah.
Is that the evidence that you're referring to coming from A&E?
What's that?
You said you had evidence, you have that it's solid evidence, is that your source, A&E?
Oh, no, I'm just saying, that's a group of people that are professional, that their merit is self-explanatory. When you've got professional people that have careers and businesses and things to protect and preserve, reputation, and they're going to put their neck under the guillotine and allege that the government is lying about 9/11, those men are heroes. And we need to get behind them. We need to use them as leverage. That is our greatest strength, almost 3,000 architects and engineers. This is the greatest weapon we have to restore freedom in this country and the world.
I saw a photo once of 9/11 where it looked like a bomb went right through the center of the top of it.
Okay, that's a whole nother issue and everything, and you're right. The fact that thermite was found is phenomenally explosive. That one fact that thermite was found in the debris is enough to, case closed. How did military-grade explosives get found in the Twin Tower debris?
So, you can
I'm
argue
done.
that A&E is probably the most successful organization
That's what we work
in terms of
we work
9/11
with.
truth issues.
We're all
So obviously, supporting them and what they do is important, which is why,
But it's our weapon.
right?
It is our weapon. There's not a better weapon.
Yeah.
And we have a fight,
And
man. We are
they're
in a
collaborating-
war.
They're collaborating with the firefighters for 9/11 Truth and Unity.
That's
There you go. Absolutely.
Pilot.
I'm sorry I forgot to mention
After our
that.
last meeting a few weeks ago
Yeah.
back there, I bought some CDs and I distributed to the fire stations
Oh,
in my
good.
area,
Excellent.
hoping.
Yeah, on the ground. So talking to the police and firefighters is so important, I think.
I think it's right. This is the plug-in to
They thank you.
big.
They know this
big
stuff, too.
things, to go with, because.
It is the plug.
Yeah, it is the plug-in.
No doubt about it. I don't see anything even close to it.
Yeah. We did, in Boston, we did a massive campaign to get material out of every single firehouse in Greater Boston.
See, we could be talking about
Well, let me
things
finish.
like this.
Yeah, and we even got on their insured firehouse mail distribution list to promote that for Rodriguez when he came to town to give talk. And he even got on our local TV station, he got a prime time news spot for like a couple of minutes, recorded, promoted. Not one word. Hundreds were contacted, hundreds, maybe thousands saw information.
Tons of pressure being put on them.
Well, maybe just that.
What year was that?
Anyway, I'm just pointing that out as a situation. I'm not saying that's not a reason to stop. I'm just saying that the inertia, that
There's the idea of an idea whose time has come. There's a certain maturation process. Things will lie dormant for a long time, and then, for reasons that no one understands, things begin to come together for people on a massive scale, and interest evolves quickly. And whenever you did this with the firefighters in Boston, that was probably not the time to do it. I mean, but.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not, but at any rate, I'm You know, if that kind of thing did happen, those were the rough results we experienced. Maybe it can be successful another time.
I believe,
Publicity.
I believe there's something on the horizon with A&E 9/11 that is going to be a game changer. Are you guys aware of what is being planned for September 10th and 11th
No.
in New York? Okay. This is something that I've been talking with Richard Gage about. I came to him months ago when I first met him, and I wanted to organize an effort of affidavits with the architects and engineers and physicists. Any professional that could offer an affidavit, a statement that could be submitted in a court of law, introduced in a court of law, okay, as an action of court that we could do as a citizen body politic across this nation. Well, that's exactly what we're going to do this fall with A&E 9/11.
Didn't they already do that?
No, that was a mock common law grand jury effort, okay? And that's how things used to be resolved in America prior to 1946. And if you go to law school, it's very critical that you learn this. The grand jury was hijacked in 1946. It was hijacked, castrated, and totally it lost its power and strength. The grand jury was both the sword and the shield for we the people since the times of Magna Carta, and it was stolen from us. But
What were the circumstances of that? I didn't know about that.
okay, the rules of criminal procedure were changed by Congress in 1946. They removed the act of presentment. We the people used to be able, as citizens, impanel a jury, convene a grand jury, and make a statement or a presentment of fact, and file it and demand a jury be convened to hear evidence of criminal activity within the government. Okay? Now only the fox guarding the henhouse can do it, the prosecutor, and who goes to the same parties with all the politicians. So we have been castrated, we've been neutered as a people by having the grand jury function of presentment power being stolen. Well, what we want to do, and Richard is already organizing this with a group of friendly attorneys in New York, we are going to file violations of misprision. Misprision is a common law term when you know of a felony being committed and you fail to report it, you yourself have committed a felony and can be held accountable for a felonious act. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to get these affidavits of all these architects and engineers and make them available to county courthouses, federal courthouses all across the country. And we're going to simultaneously bombard these federal courts with complaints demanding a grand jury investigation be convened about 9/11. This is a substantive act. A substantive act.
So it's
It
pretty,
has
pretty
power.
fiduciary responsibility that goes hand in hand. It's a legal principle. Howard Griswold has been teaching on at least 20 years. I haven't organized him to come down in Seminole and speak on, but he's still speaking on it if you look him up.
People are tired of spinning in the hamster wheel.
Oh,
This
he's having
is a
success.
possible action that we can really make a difference.
So we could, as a group, decide to be a support mechanism
Mhm.
that's happening.
Absolutely.
We have courtroom observers, you know, if somebody has a legal problem, we should just be able to email each other in the group and say, well, I have a traffic ticket.
No, okay, here we go. We don't want to get all spread out onto all these different battles, man. We want to be narrowly
Well,
focused.
if you don't want me to be there for your ticket, then you don't have to be for
Well,
mine, and that's fine, you know, but we can
Yeah,
talk to you.
you know what?
I'll be here for you, though.
I try to avoid tickets. I don't want to get tangled up
Any
in
legal
these petty
issue.
things, you know? We have a freaking tyranny approaching
Well, courtroom
us. The last
observers
thing I'm worried
work.
about is freaking
If you have a
taxes.
courtroom observer, then the judge asks, well, what are you here for? Well, I'm just here to
Okay,
observe.
okay.
And that puts them on their better behavior. They think you're streaming live the video out on the
Okay.
web. The bailiff comes over and tries to look at your clipboard. You have to hide it from them. They're like little marble pens.
Yeah. So I just stay away from that. Like a bug on my shoulder, man. I flick them off.
But in terms of focusing on the 9/11 issue.
Yeah.
And this event for the 50th anniversary, we can get more information on, you know, what that plan is and then how we can support it.
Absolutely.
So that's
That will happen.
what we can do. So it's getting important.
Yeah, this is going to be probably the biggest effort since 9/11 to hold them accountable. It
Which
has
is-
real
Is
chances.
this something that was discussed in the conference call?
Yeah.
Would you like to inform us as this develops, you
Absolutely.
Information to
That's
us.
why I'm here. I have every intention of
And
doing
then
that.
we can form a little committee to work on it and do whatever support.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I want to get at is, what's an actionable project we can work on that we all agree to get focused on?
Well, what we did, utility, we did street actions with the A&E guys,
Yeah.
and, we would just hand people, DVDs, basically compilations of this and this and that, Phil Devin, and, you know, thermite evidence, and all that stuff. Once here and there, got yelled at, got spit on, but it was pretty useful, I mean, it's,
All right, that's sort of like an ongoing little three-level thing to do.
we probably get a 20 or 30,000 every year.
I can tell you that here in St. Pete, the best opportunity for that kind of action is on Saturday morning at the St. Pete Market. They must have 20,000 people or more come down there in the morning.
Dunedin, different farmers markets.
Yeah, you can't legally go into the market, but on the streets facing the market on the corners, other groups go down there and hand out green juice or whatever. And
Where is that now? Where's the market?
So right down the street here, a couple blocks. They close in the summer. They move it, so summer's not the best time. But it's in that huge parking lot.
By Alvine, by Rowdy?
Yes, by the Rowdy's short end there. It's massive, and it's from like 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. And there will literally 20, 30,000 people in there.
What games would it be done with? You're standing at the churches?
Yeah, I did it one weekend with Jim for the FSU event. Just go down there, we hang out with our brochure, and ask if they'd like one, get the brief statement, 9/11 till next weekend, they were fine. They think it's enough, whatever. But as a potential public venue to hand out material, that's a good one. So, maybe there's others, and this occurs on a regular basis. So I would say people interested in sort of like a street level distribution of non-electric materials or whatever materials, that's one of the better venues to hit up for that kind of thing. And there may be others, but this is one thing.
Talk to them face to face and
Yeah.
ask questions. I kind of thought it was suspicious. Thanks so much for that.
Some people have no time, but others still stop.
Are you connected with 911 so long?
Back in the day, 911truth.org was. I had some time, James Matthews. I was one of the board members there for about a year. But that's a long time ago. Yeah, that's when I saw. But, right. So, and now there's 911 Truth Outreach, which I think is another great organizing platform.
So this question here, what are our interests and strengths? Number one, level of activity. What's a realistic level of involvement? That's a very good question. So many of us are so busy just making a living. We don't have time to go to all these meetings and rallies, and that's why if we can figure out a way to communicate to masses, sitting on our couch, holding a cell phone, talking to a radio station, simultaneously talking to thousands of people at a city where there's several universities, where there are thinking people, professionals. Excellent, yeah. This is figuring out our path of least resistance.
Yeah.
And I would say something that we as activists, we need training. We need training on how to do that.
Coaching
What's the script? What's the protocol? What's the time to call in? How to make your point quickly?
Right.
Like give your reference first and then make your point.
I would advocate for like a little training session for someone who has done this type of.
Well, this is what we plan.
This is
Jason, that's exactly what we plan to
You have
do.
your list of 10, 20, 30 people. They're all notified by a phone tree or whatever. This is the show to call in at XYZ time. They've all been trained. They all have notification to call in to this show at this time. They call in. It's like college.
Like this last event, May 26th, almost 2 weeks before Richard Gage came in, Sunday Forum allowed me on and
Yeah.
fully announced it. So I don't want to discourage you, Dale, that WMNF is all bad, because it's just Rob Lori who doesn't take my calls. And other people's calls, I've asked him why, have I broken some rule or policy? I'm not going to try anymore.
Rob Lori is certainly following an agenda,
Yeah.
a neoconservative agenda, if you will, or even worse, even a Zionist agenda. I've listened to him for years. I'm sure he's Jewish, and I'm sure that it's one thing to be Jewish. I know Jewish people who are friendly and nice and naive and everything, but it's another to be Jewish and be driving an agenda, and he's driving an agenda. It's a very anti-white agenda. It's a very,
Well, he can have whatever agenda, or any host can have whatever agenda they like. They should just allow us to talk. And that's a point I've made, you have to take control of the airwaves back from them. As I've made the point so before, and I think others can make this point, that when you are running a radio station, it's a public commons. You're inviting people
That's right.
to contribute,
Bingo.
increase the broadcast value, like a
There's nothing
speech
public
station.
about that, other than fundraising. They want everybody to pitch in.
Right,
But when it comes to the
well,
programming,
right.
it's right down the road of left-wing, radical, communism, feminism,
Yeah, but
everything.
the right wing has their Zionist neocons too.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
They're
he
inviting us
doesn't,
to
you
speak.
couldn't get onto his program, even though he supposedly,
Well, this is the legal action.
quote-unquote, public radio.
To get on the program legal, to allow them to live up to their word, their offer, will take the calls in the order they're received, and yet he'll leave people like myself on hold throughout the entire show. The call screener will tell you, oh, you're second in line. Well, then they take 10 calls and never get on the show. I have several cases of this. I've documented them. But if more of us do this, I've made this point on their Facebook page before, and by calling in the show, I say, well, like the sweepstakes, like Facebook, like YouTube, like Twitter, they've been sued before when they don't deliver on their promise. You know, you can have private property, invite people to participate, increase the value of your broadcast or of your event, and then if you don't deliver, well, you've exposed yourself to not only a lawsuit, but a class action lawsuit, because several people have documented this, where you've invited people to call in and they haven't been able to. They shield the guest. The guest, like Daniel Roots, badmouths Danny from Tampa, calling him anti-Semitic for criticizing Israel. And Rob Lori says, oh, gee, I hope that Danny from Tampa can call in. Well, then the next, and he doesn't. Next time Danny calls in, I said, Rob, I'm really disappointed in you that you put me on hold. You left me on hold. You didn't allow me to talk to Daniel Roots, Tampa Bay Times writer. And he gets to say all this stuff about us. So they shield the guests, and we can document this stuff on our phones and record the calls.
I wish I had all the money that I had given at the station. I stopped contributing when I finally woke up about 2009. But I moved here in 1988. I was a faithful for years and years and years. I finally woke up. I said, what's going on? And I realized that's the money that was blown away. That station is the enemy. It really is.
Let's make a comment, then let's do like a summary and a wrap-up.
The way to get around it is to...
Huh? Oh, I thought we were going till 6. Oh, really?
Sorry about that.
Oh, wow, I thought it was 6.
You gotta find the show, then when you call them, you agree with the show's topic and point. And you get 5 or 10 people all do the same damn thing in a row. This way, every call they go to, they can't delay. And this way, one of your points will be.
Yeah, that's what we did this morning. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what we did this morning. We had 4 of us.
You can't call in,
We call-
oh, I'm gonna disagree with you live on air.
No,
Yeah, okay. Oh,
You have to go about it systematically. I agree with you 100%. And I want to connect with you, get your phone number, and the next time you're on, or the next time you get cut off, I want you to call me, and I will call up and defend them, because I endured what you're describing for many, many years. Since 1987, I fought Clear Channel Radio, that owns all the major stations in the Midwest. I got banned. They contacted me, the corporate contacted me officially, and said I was not permitted on their radio station. because I exposed the money trail back in '08 and '09 with the Tea Party up in Ohio. I got sued by the Ohio Tea Party Coalition. Then I had 3 attorneys defend me pro bono. We kicked their ass and exposed them for the liars they were. To this day, except for this morning, I got on because there was a substitute host and screener that didn't know my voice. They didn't know my phone number, so I got on. But we're going to organize it in a way that, just like he said, you know, one after another, boom, 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 we can defend each other. And then we'll shut them up. They won't dare censor us.
But the trick is, don't tell the call screener what you're actually.
Exactly, that's what we
Tell the
did.
call screener
Yeah.
what they want to hear.
Exactly, and then once you're on the air, unload.
Yeah, they got something, somebody saying.
She's a former DPH, you're clear channel employee.
Real quick, I worked for the evil empire for almost 20 years. I was program director, and I know how they work in and out, that's why I don't work there anymore.
What station? We're at
I
Lamar.
worked at CCQ in Sarasota most recently, and then before that, I was at KBS in Spokane, and WALP in Charleston, so I was with them for a while. I worked for Regional News Desk when 9/11. But, the call screeners are a $9 an hour recent
Used by the host.
communication thread.
Right.
They don't freaking know what they're doing, and they're probably still hungover. So it's not really hard to, it's not difficult.
Well, in my situation, they had caller ID. They also added a 20-second delay device.
Well, that's
They used to have a 5-second delay. Now they got 20-second delay. That way they can control or erase what comes out they don't want to come out.
Yeah, another
You have
trick.
5 or 10 people calling in to say the same thing.
Exactly. They're not.
They're not going to delay 2 full minutes.
Right.
5 minutes.
Right.
See, here's a trick that you can get, they pull this trick and here's how to get around it. I've had a call of mine on the Schmidt show that was edited. He took out what he didn't want me to say and inserted part of my previous call to make me sound foolish.
They
Okay?
did that live?
Yes, live on the air, on the fly, editing. Yeah, and so I go back to, I listen to the recording.
You're on the list, buddy.
I know.
That was WMNF?
That was WFLA 970 when Schiff was, now he's on 1250 AM, but he's nationally syndicated. And, you know, so the way around that is to record the call on your phone and on the radio, and then you can, once your call is done, you keep the recording going, and then you go back and you play your call as it was aired. So you have a recording on your phone, like I have a phone app called Record My Call that records all my calls. And then you go onto your, go to your tape player, you rewind it, you play it, and then if there's a discrepancy between the 2 recordings, you have it documented with one continuous footage, and then you post it on YouTube. It's like Katie Couric she apologized because she was caught with this, using a tape delay, and then pretending like the guys she's interviewing who were
Responded in a different way.
They're
Yeah.
making good pro-Second Amendment arguments and trying to make it look like they were
Record my call.
like they were sitting there speechless when she was just stopping and then squelching him from saying anything. So she had to apologize because they were recording it.
Their whole thing is about ratings. So
Yeah.
they don't know, some of them actually care about what you have to say and whether or not they agree with it. But for the most part, they're worried about their bottom line. So if they get good ratings, they get the same employee. And if they don't get good ratings, they don't get the same employee. So they can't, the cause is great to you. Most of the time, the host may care, but ultimately thinking about how much is going to get in trouble later for airing some stuff. That's what we all did.
But
Like I said, they can't delay 2 full minutes of live air.
Like it's all for your hosted.
Yeah.
how many people would like to get involved in this radio project?
Oh, I love.
So you're on board, you are?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, can we get your phone numbers? And we're gonna have a conference call on the telephone, and we're gonna just, have a round table on the phone. So I'll pass this around, put your name and phone number or email. Okay, is this okay, Jason? I don't mean to.
Well, Craig had some ideas for a website.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. One idea I had was to set up a separate page, like we haven't had anybody join the chat room, but we could set up a page so that we could do a chronic call coaching. I was actually thinking of setting up another website totally. So for each page for its own radio show
Yes.
and its own chat room, and then call up the show and say, well, hey, we noticed you don't have a chat room. Come check out Tampa Bay Talking or something. I see there are other names.
Yeah, these are the ideas we want to discuss. I know we're running out of time, so.
Before, so you know, we can coach each other.
We got 10 minutes.
So there's, to wrap up, there's some things I want to do. What are the actionable items that we want to do? I think we have one present right now. I think we, as we discussed, there's the phone call and activism, which we're just discussing right now. So that's one actionable item. The other is supporting the 9/11 Truth Anniversary Project.
Court action, affidavits.
Court action. So.
Is that on Navy's website right now, or is it?
No.
And Mike can keep us updated on that information so we can follow up and support it.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
And then just locally, there is, I mean, there's a lot we didn't get to discuss. I'm personally committed to trying to promote and develop local organizations, which means I want to create a small group of 4 to 6 people who are committed activists who will meet on a regular basis. That's my goal.
But I didn't get it. What's the nature of the organization?
It's what we're doing right
A
now.
multi-issue organization. It's not a.
Well, the issues will be defined by the people who are the constituents. That's what we're doing right now.
That's right.
That's my first step in attempting this meeting right here today. So, I'm all fine with whatever the agreement is among the participants to support. And in this case, today, we're looking at the phone call activism, the court action with,
Right.
So, but for me, locally, it can be material distribution, building a small local organization. That's what all personally.
But don't we all believe that 9/11 is our greatest strength, our greatest weapon?
Right. So.
It's a tool.
Let's take a vote.
I think it's no-brainer. How many?
Yeah, I don't think we can.
Okay, there's 2 that don't. Tell me what you think is stronger. Now, we're almost out. I'm
Community
sorry.
currencies, and that's why I feel
Okay, all right.
guilty when I do so. I mean, I spend hours and hours promoting these
Okay.
architects and engineers.
What do you think?
But I gotta restrain
This is
myself.
a stronger weapon.
I'm not disagreeing, it's just a question of evidence, and as y'all, everybody here knows, that a lot of, sometimes these people that put out evidence do a, side, get you going in this direction, so that you don't look at this information. And I'm not saying that A&E, that certainly would be the highest
this is
authority,
science.
the highest authority.
This is scientific evidence. This
Right.
isn't ambiguous
The thing is,
opinion.
they focus on this, the focus is on A&E because that's solid. It's just a question, for me, it's a question of what are the other factors involved, and why do they feel so strongly that George Bush is involved?
Well, George Bush and personalities, other personalities are really irrelevant. We're focusing on the crime and the evidence being empirical evidence.
Who at this point?
Yeah, who is like, that's later. We just want to prove that this was a crime done internally. That these explosives were placed in this building weeks, months in advance, in a systematic, organized manner by professionals designed to take the buildings down. Okay, that's the main focus. That's our weapon.
When you want to introduce
But
you gotta go out and search the building.
who would have the motivation to do it, what's
Oh,
the motivation behind it?
Money and power.
Again, who is not the main focus yet? That will come later.
Although everybody
Wars.
wants to ask that question.
Yeah, that's the first question they
We
ask.
need to have an
But you can't
answer.
have a crime without a culprit.
Yeah, that's absolute, but we'll have to take this step by step.
The motive was to present the war on terror as something that
Motivation.
that was the motivation.
Okay, yeah, I think your point, so it hasn't been proven to be a crime yet. Oh, okay.
Well, because it was deliberately not investigated as a crime.
That's right, it was never investigated as.
That was a conscious part of the plot, is to make it look like a terrorist plot, not a crime. And everything they did afterward was involved in avoiding anything that would bring any part of it into a court of law, where there would be discovery and all the other things. That is something that, what's the guy, name escapes me now, but he's done such a good job of it.
Oh, Christopher Bollett.
Christopher.
Okay, so a lot of people might not know that 911 has not been proven to be.
95%
You know,
of
it's
people
fine.
already know
It's
that 967 fell down.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing, don't get me wrong, I'm not disagreeing.
Write that name
I'm
down,
just saying-
Christopher Bolin, and watch some of his videos. Oh my gosh, I mean, they're so powerful.
Is this your pen?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I was wondering who it was.
And on
It looks like mine.
our website, we have on our links page a lot of links, if anybody has more to add, but, yeah, we are changetampa.org.
How long have you been involved in 9/11?
That's the thing, is
Beg your pardon?
How long have you been involved in 9/11?
Bill?
Recently.
5 years.
It's- I know the history of South Florida, I know the history of how Bush and Apollo Escobar got connected. I know of bombings that we did on planes and trains, so on and so forth. So making that jump to 9/11, I haven't been able quite to make it yet, although the individuals who run the Venus Airport, if I remember correctly, they also own the LaBelle Airport, which is one town over.
the cocaine issue, you have to kind of go back to the CIA days when they were running coke. CIA kind of got involved, Clinton's family got involved in the early 80s.
I live in Conway.
The Bush family is almost, all these being Bush members that are out there, they're almost all CIA agents, or in some fashion.
Control Florida.
And by the way,
State
Christopher
government.
Bolin does touch on that quite a bit, the criminal conspiracy of, I think, doesn't he touch on the Bush families involvement right here? Here's,
So, since we have to be out of here, like,
Yeah.
I just want to get, people's opinions. I want to hold another meeting again at some point, you know, maybe as a follow-up to this, or bring in people who weren't able to come this time. So, do you think this time is a good time? I think it's Saturday, late in the afternoon, because I figured maybe it's not conflicting with people's busy work week, or,
I would say kind of later in the day.
Yeah, I would too,
would you?
Jason, I would even,
Like an after 5 o'clock.
yeah.
Yeah, there's some limitations on building this place, but I can find another place.
Even like a park with a big shelter house or something, you know, in case it rains, we can still meet.
Right.
I know in Englewood, we've got a great park right by the beach that'll seat 150 people, free, you're allowed to use it.
You still
But,
think maybe something more like 5 to 7, or 7
yeah,
to later? Or?
yeah, 5 to 7, what do you think? What is everybody else?
Probably a little, I mean, I do residential air district for a living. so-
Yeah, so you're working,
Yeah,
I'm kind of the same thing.
I can work 7 days a week and not have enough time in the day to finish work.
So it's better as an evening thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay. But you think weekend is good?
Yeah, I think weekends definitely.
Okay, so I'll try for like a Saturday evening, I think.
Yeah.
6 to 7.
Yeah, 6 to
Okay,
9,
I might
7 to
have
9.
find another place, 'cause I don't think this place is open later or something for me.
Did they charge you to use it?
I have a certain amount of hours I can use it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, after I accumulate more hours, I think it's like 25 bucks an hour.
Okay.
So today no charge.
Great.
Yeah. And another thing we talked about is fundraising. Because to do all the things we want to do, it takes some money. So,
Here's my hot button issue.
yeah.
Up in New York, we had a booth.
Misappropriation.
Yeah.
Yes.
I understand.
And it
Investment.
Rodowski?
Yeah, we had, it wasn't small sums of money, it was 20 grand.
Yeah.
For like a 1 month shot. Sabrina is all like, we kind of formed a little group and, you know, that's why she walked away on the one.
His girlfriend?
Yeah. You know, we kind of, and we started confronting him at meetings. And we were all being fed to fucking agents.
See, the idea with the radio show and doing the radio is it won't cost us a dime. We can create a little website for each market, you know, for the Ohio State, Columbus, Ohio radio effort. We can create a little WordPress website
Yeah.
that will accommodate, you know, organizing and connecting with people in that market. And, you know, you can get free WordPress themes and upload them and have a website in like 20 minutes, man.
What about blog talk?
Oh, absolutely. TalkShoe, there's a new one called Spreaker. I mean, there are
Well, if you want to
multitude
do a
of things.
radio show, there's several radio networks that will get you a lot more publicity. But Blog Talk Radio just doesn't have the reach like a network
Yeah,
does, and we
right.
have
I
to
agree.
get on the radio
Yeah, we're-
streams tab. on
Broadcast radio is our ticket.
Another avenue to explore is public pay for time on like the weekends. I know a lot of shitty little stations that do that. I don't know, down here.
Yeah, there's a Mark Skogman who runs Spectrum 360 every Monday night, I think. Anyway, he was at this last event on May 26th, and he struck me as, well, being progressive, self-described, but, you know, listening to his show, that's how I would peg him. But he's very much for 9/11 truth, so there are people like him we can talk to.
That's what's nice about this issue.
1340 AM.
9/11
Yeah,
transcends partisanship.
It is,
We
yeah.
can put aside all this petty partisanship. I don't care if you're for abortion or against it. If you want to defeat this tyranny and use 9/11 as a silver bullet, all that other stuff is petty.
I tend to agree because this is patriot, this is the right kind of patriotism. When you find out that your country has been attacked like that, and it's never been solved, people want to know, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. That's the first question I get when I tell them about the evidence. Well, then who? Who did it? So, yeah, absolutely.
Well,
man.
what about the idea, of course, we're nowhere near that, is if we were,
I'll probably never see the who names in my lifetime.
Oh, yeah, you will.
I wouldn't be so sure about that. But, you know, what about picketing, WMNF or something? These people need to be.
Rob Lori's house was ticketed already because he wouldn't, I didn't, but I know Clay from Land O'Lakes, Clay Colson is his name. He and others ticketed his house because they canceled 2 shows that had the funding. One was Connie Burton, the other was the Music of the Isles. And despite that, because Rob, despite having the funding, he decided arbitrarily to get rid of them.
No kidding.
Yeah, and a lot of other
I
issues
know
they
Clay
ticketed.
Colson, where's he doing? What is he doing these days? I haven't heard him personally for a long time.
Oh, he calls in a lot. He still calls in. See, the thing is, he has to use caller ID block. Yeah, I do too. When I called him up, I asked him, how'd you get through? You use caller ID block, and that's why you use the fake name, right? Well, Rob isn't taking blocks, blocks.
They recognize
caller ID
my
block.
voice. That couldn't be true.
I'll give you another solution. There's a thing called Google Voice.
Oh,
You
yeah.
create an email address and they give you the phone number. We get 100 email addresses.
But how do you attach it to your phone? So when you call a studio, it comes up on caller ID. Huh?
Just put Google Voice on your phone and link your Gmail to your Google Voice account.
Really?
And just go to the settings.
Yeah. But see, if we get enough of us doing this in concert together, we can defeat them with our public power. You know, we can hold them accountable and squeeze them in the public arena. Yeah.
Thinking of the site to shame.
What do you do? You use Google Voice?
See, you have an iPad, so you're not going to be able to.
Yeah, that's my problem. I got an
I have an
iPhone.
Android phone.
Yeah, just go to Google Voice. You have to have a Gmail. It's kind of like
A Gmail account, yeah.
If you have a Google account, you go to Google Voice, you activate and create a Google phone number. The whole separate phone number, and then you just link it right to your phone.
Okay,
Your phone cannot.
we
work
have
five
another hour
numbers
if we want.
simultaneously.
Oh,
People
cool.
said it's okay.
Oh, cool.
All right.
Everybody cool with that? Staying another hour?
So I would say we should be out at, 5 or 10, another 15 minutes or so. If everybody, if you want to leave, that's okay, but I
Yeah.
decided we can't
Those
stay.
that want to stay, I'm going to stay. You going to stay? Jason?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll stay.
And
You
I
gonna
would say, for people who, if you want to hang out and
I'm going to
socialize,
and then go kill myself. Then I'll be back.
if you want to hang out and socialize later, there's this world of beer over
By
here.
killing myself, I mean by
It's like one block down on the left.
What is it?
World of beer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if you want refreshment later and just want to chat about anything,
What's the name of it?
World of beer.
World of Beer. Oh, so were you going afterwards?
Afterwards.
Stream that or?
Yeah.
Yeah, stream.
It's crazy reaction.
No, not at all yet. But people usually tune into the archives anyway, for sure.
All right.
This morning when we were doing this show, I timed the difference between the live broadcast over the air signal and the delay they had. That delay was right around 20 seconds, okay? But the delay between live broadcast and streaming was 75 seconds.
WMNF?
No, WTV in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh.
They have a 75-second difference between the live real time, and the point that it comes out over streaming, which
Well, they
is
have a slow reflexes. If somebody
75
says a
seconds.
swear word, they can't, you know,
Gives them plenty of
takes them a
time.
while to reach up to that.
Is that presentation that's focused on like, the birth certificate, like,
no, WTVN is up in Columbus, Ohio, at Ohio State University.
yeah, there's a fire station that's focuses like on the birth certificate.
Boy, I don't know, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, there's one that's hot.
In Ohio?
Yeah.
Are you talking about when
It
Donald
might
Trump
be
brought it up
it might
years
be
ago? or-
Iowa, Ohio, it's one of those two.
Huh, wow, interesting.
Now, who collected the phones and email addresses?
I did?
Are you going to share that with us?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You want to make copies? I don't care. Absolutely.
I don't
Is there a
know,
copy?
you make copies, I could just.
Take a picture with your phone.
Okay.
Do you want to take a picture with your phone? Then?
Hey, that's a good idea, just take a picture of it, yeah.
Okay.
I'm more than willing to share. That was a test I put Richard Gage to the test in the A&E group. Without hesitation, they were willing to give me the entire mailing list of all the participants at the first,
Yeah.
you were there, where we met at the Black
February,
Church,
yeah.
or the, whatever it was.
And the Hoover House.
Yeah, and yeah, he was like, yeah, sure, man, go ahead.
Yeah.
And they handed it to me, I took a picture of it.
Well,
That's proving that there's no gatekeepers in A&E 9/11, in my opinion. Do you not agree? I thought that was pretty genuine of
I
them.
don't know everybody there, but on the whole.
Well, I'm talking about the leadership, Richard Gage and all the organizers. I mean, nobody resisted, nobody even,
But they are protective about their big national,
oh,
and I would be too.
yeah, I would be
Put
too.
that out there.
Right.
I had partial access to it for promoting.
Now, if you want to go to our site and sign up, I set up a function a little while ago on meetup.com. Because meetup.com doesn't give us your email list, it only allows us to send a mass mailer. I set up a subscribe to emails function here. So you can, subscribe to our mailing list and unsubscribe too, if you like. Trying to persuade people. We want to get, Jason and I were talking about, well, we want to get away from Meetup so that you'll be able to not have to pay, put it all on our website, not have to pay $89 every 6 months.
Right.
And them shielding us from the mailing list.
I have a big meetup group up in Chicago called Lone Lantern. Have you ever heard of that? That's me. I'm the organizer.
Very French.
Yeah, it was. It's me now. I'm the organizer.
Okay.
But I'm like ready to get rid of it. It's just, it just doesn't seem like it's really, there's just a few people active. I had at my peak 375 members. I think now it's down to about 330, but it just doesn't seem like there's, I don't know.
What's Lone Lantern, a platform like?
Yeah, it's a meetup site. Yeah, it's 9/11, in the Fed, strong libertarian, nonpartisan website with meetup, platform.
Right.
Did Gary start that?
I don't know who started it.
Right.
I took it over. Someone let it go, and I took it over. Yeah, and I had at one time 3 or 4 different ones, but I just don't really see the value in them that much. I think at one time they were great during the Ron Paul Revolution. They were very active then. But, yeah.
And if you remember, they did those great fundraiser spots on that local PBS station in Colorado. Gary Franchi was on there, and as part of the fundraising promotion for the station, they ran some of the 89/11 film, and that was a really big deal, highly unusual that a local PBS station can bring that material to the public at all.
Right.
And they did it several times.
I just think if we can target this city, start out with Ohio State, build us a little website to connect with locals,
Yeah.
do a WordPress site, and add Buddy Press. You know Buddy Press? It's a community plug-in for WordPress. WordPress is hands down the best content management system.
Yeah, it used to be a lot harder, which is why I've been posting it on Weebly since about 5 or 6 years ago.
But there's a plugin,
WordPress
there's two
is a lot better
plugins
now.
for WordPress. One is called BuddyPress, which creates, it's a built-in plugin. You just plug it in and it creates a community. It has huge potential. Then the second one is for BBPress, which gives you a profile capability that enables all your users to manifest themselves in a big profile manner. Like, let's say if you're a church or a business or whatever you are, an organization, you can join the site and you become a member, you're a user, you get a profile and you get a thumbnail, and it follows you. Whatever you do, your activity is followed with your thumbnail. Somebody wants to find out what your comments and what you're all about, they click on it, takes you to the profile page, and you read about the group, the church, the business, the organization. It's great. It's great.
What is that?
Yeah, it's called BBPress. It's a plug-in
Is
for
it
WordPress.
like the alphabet?
Yeah, the letters B and B. Yeah.
It's short for bulletin board.
Yeah, yeah, that's right, you're a web guy, I forgot, I'm sorry.
But,
Sure,
we could put up a WordPress site and do that.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if we could migrate the data from our meetup group and, all this work that's been done into WordPress. I haven't looked to see if that's possible. Maybe there's some tool out there that could migrate the stuff, or if BBPress is, say, an HTML plugin. I wish Craig were here, he was offering. We should get him out in the conversation. He's offering to help too. He might have some expertise.
Right.
Jason, do you like WordPress content management?
The only thing I don't, it's good. It's the most accessible one to use for most people. Unfortunately, it has security vulnerabilities and it needs absolute constant updating.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Everything's changing all the time. The WordPress itself is changing. All the plugins are changing. Every week you'll get a whole list of things that need to be updated and it's a pain in the ass.
So who would you recommend?
But it is, I think even so, I think
Wait.
that's
How much time do
Despite
you
that.
spend per week?
You still think it's the best?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I wish it was more stable. In my opinion, it's not real as stable as I'd like to have. But
What about a wiki, using wiki?
I haven't really done that.
It's another content management.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where Joe taught me. Joe taught me about creating a wiki. Yeah, Joseph. Yeah. I tried to get him to come here. He's a former NSA employee. He's a brain. And I tried to get him to come today, but he was busy apparently. So.
Right.
When you put things in the wiki, it doesn't agree with the mainstream, thought.
Oh, yeah,
They'll
that's
toss it
edited.
right out.
Well, this would be our own wiki. We would control it. This is not
Not
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.
We're not talking about
Oh.
Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's moderate.
Wiki is a content management platform that you can use and totally be sovereign and separate and create your
Right.
stuff.
See, I think it's so important to focus on a website rather than, we have a Facebook page and we can reach into that matrix and draw people to our website, but I'm seeing that our meetup group might have maybe 3 visitors or 4 visitors a week, and maybe a couple new members who join. So maybe because we've been promoted to them through by Meetup themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And our Facebook group, when I do a post as an administrator, we can, like Jason and I, and we can have other people be edited. If you want to be an editor, we'll just appoint you as an editor. It shows that maybe one post might get 40 hits. It depends on the post because Facebook is so rigged, and it's going to say, well, a really old post only got 14 hits, like the event this past Saturday with Ernie Gallo, a survivor of the USS Liberty. And
Yeah,
so, well, we got the video of it. We streamed it, so you can check it out. That only got 14 hits, but then the next one got, which was a USS Liberty post, got something like 260-something hits. Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason why, it says so many people reached, or not hits, but Facebook says reached. There's no rhyme or reason why some people have more, so some have more, some have less, other than Facebook is rigged, and we know that already.
Oh, yeah.
And we get about 40, 50 hits.
But we can still use it. Facebook is still valuable.
It is. I'm not saying that.
It shouldn't be our stand-alone only, though.
Right. I think the core should be the website. There's always room for improvement. I'm always have ideas and things that I have to catch up on. I have about 300 links I'd like to add, for example. Just yesterday, I finally got around to putting that Ernie Gallo event, the video of it, and the May 26th and the February 6th, Richard Gage, Architects and Engineers event, Jonathan Cole. So I just added a whole bunch of videos on there yesterday. It's just like I need help from people who'd be willing to work on it more.
Jonathan Cole lives right down the street from me. Yeah, he's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, he's gonna be there in September with Richard and everybody there. He's gonna be one of the expert academics.
Good. And you know, I think I mentioned this to you before, if you want to talk to me more going in the future, I would love to produce an event down in Sarasota, Venice area, solely on the Venice Airport and Sarasota connection to 9/11 truth, and bring in investigative reporters and other key people and set up a whole like 1 or 2 day event.
We want
and
to
do a big public promotion.
Right.
for
There's a
that.
group of us down there that want to do just that, but
Is that right?
we're thinking more of like an emergency town hall, you know, an emergency town hall meeting. That's where we're at, folks. I mean, let's not play.
What is their claim to fame? I know that Bush was there in Sarasota, but
It's the drug trade, it's the Saudi connection.
Yeah.
They call them the Sarasota Saudis. You know, that's,
I just met a guy that grew up there.
Yeah.
This guy's like 61 years old. He grew up there.
Yeah.
He has all the connections and knows all the names and everything that happened.
Yeah.
We met him at that church dinner that we were just at. This guy is phenomenal. He knows. Yeah, so we need to get a hold of
Sarasota is
him.
one of the big nexuses of the 9/11 event.
That's right.
Just like Washington DC was, just like New York was.
That's right.
Just like Shanksville, you know, just like the Pentagon. Not as talked about.
Robert Steele, you said you knew Robert David Steele is
Yeah.
former CIA. He, at one time in his heyday in his career, he was the #2 Marine intelligence officer in the whole country. Robert David Steele, go on Google and listen to him on YouTube. The guy is phenomenal. He's willing to come here and help us hold this emergency town hall in Sarasota, Venice.
I don't know that well, or I haven't checked him out that much with that guy McConnell, the aviation,
Bill McConnell.
Bill McConnell.
Mm.
He would bring in the aviation act.
Yeah, absolutely.
He likes to do
His
support.
information is not 100% reliable.
No,
I know him.
do you? Yeah, I just sort of had it, I wasn't really sure, but,
I know him.
yeah. I had somebody email me with that.
Cool. Could you put your...
Oh,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah.
Sure. Well, what were you
Bill
saying?
McConnell is behind some of the bombings in Miami.
Which one?
Planes.
In Miami?
Mhm.
Cuban Airline?
1980s.
Oh, I see.
He's not gonna tell
So
you.
he was the CIA guy?
He's definitely CIA. He knew about Pablo. He knew about the things going on.
Right.
He got caught up in it and was very angry about a certain situation with his daughter. So he placed a bomb on the plane.
Huh.
I'll just put my email out there if anybody else wants to take a picture. See if you're going to take a moment.
Got it. So, you know, we
Yeah.
can come up with a good list.
I think this one's mine. This one's
Thank you
yours.
very much.
Oh, that's mine?
So anyway, that's what
This
I'd
is
like
mine.
to work on.
This is yours.
You know, coming up.
Oh, okay, I pulled it, that's right.
Yeah.
It could be a
Give
good
me this picture of it, because my phone's busy.
way to promote it in local media. Because it's local interest, you know, Sarasota and it's terrorism, and it's not local. So I don't know if you can ignore that if you're going to get established information. Or if you're going to hear on Miami, you know.
Bill McConnell grew up, or he lived in Clewiston, which is one town over from LaBelle,
Yeah.
which is, again,
Is that
the connection between the LaBelle Airport and Venice. There's a connection.
Very interesting. I'll tell you more about that. Yeah. Anyway, so let's see. Great. So we have potential for an event in Sarasota. That could be more long range. When do you think we'd get some info back on the plans for the 9/11?
Yeah, I am gonna be on a weekly conference call, with him for the next several weeks, so every Thursday I will be able to give you a call and send out an email.
It's just in the planning works right now?
I think it's a little further than that, yeah, it's definitive, it's definitely gonna happen. I mean, they, like John Cole, I know he's gonna be there,
Okay.
so they're already putting it together.
Yeah. So I guess my question would be, what would your sort of average street level activist person, how do they contribute if you're not like an expert?
Mhm.
Some key person like that.
Well, they're gonna be drafting the documents, okay, in such a way that it will facilitate and make it, easy, hopefully, for the average Joe to get his, complaint made known in a legal document.
Mhm.
This is what we're doing, is we're gonna be filing these affidavits with local federal courthouse entities to, get the ball rolling. And,
Well, does that mean we would file one here in St. Petersburg, Canada?
yeah. Somehow, we're gonna make this so that we have standing. We have to have standing in order to file the legal complaint. So, and this is part that's a little bit ambiguous at this point yet. I'm not sure how we're going to achieve standing, in a court of law, being that this happened in New York, but there is a way we can do it, and this is what's all in the motion right now.
Well, standing would just, the definition would be determined that you have a significant interest or.
Interest or jurisdictional
has had some
authority.
negative impact on your life.
Yeah, and the fact that it's not being investigated as a crime gives every American standing, in my opinion. But I'm not a lawyer, but I can see very easily how that argument can be made.
There's not gonna be a statute of limitation?
No, fraud has no limitation, and that's exactly what we're dealing with. We're dealing with fraud, criminal fraud, conspiracy.
So we could receive instruction on how to file with that, how to put it together properly.
Yeah, and on Thursday's call, I'm gonna stress, hey, is this being considered? Are you gonna make this, doable for the average guy on the street?
Well, I wonder if the standing, from what you said about the Sarasota Venice Airport, could that be a venue for standing? Certainly.
That's my thinking. I would
There must be
think so.
people down there that come up with standing.
But doing this simultaneously all across the country, in courthouse, federal jurisdictions, all across the country, at the same time, we'll send a message and we will be heard. I'm sure this is going to rock this nation.
So this is really something being taken very seriously by Gage himself?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna happen.
Now, can I plug into the next conference call, because I gave up on those things, but I still get emails from Gage every few days.
Okay, I don't know. I was invited by him personally to this conference call. You have to have a ticket and be invited, I guess, but I don't see why not. I mean, I will,
Just to find out what's going on, if I
Right.
can contribute anyway, but.
I would think so.
Not speak in on anything. but,
No.
okay.
No, absolutely. I wouldn't see any reason why not. But I don't personally have the authority to tell you yes, because it's not my conference call. I didn't organize it. I was just invited by Gage, so. But I will definitely check into it, and Dale, I verify your, and I will call you.
The very first conference call, I did several of them afterwards. The very first one, I was the first one there waiting, a half hour or so, somebody came on. Oh, somebody else, they're doing something, it was so lackadaisical.
Yeah, this wasn't like that at all. This was, everybody was pretty much within 2 or 3, 4 minutes of variation and arrival time, and it was very professional. We respected each other's time, people had their say, we went to the next person, It was very organized. It was very valuable. We were there for 2 hours at least. Yeah.
Good, glad they're going on.
Cool.
If we could revisit that point you're making about WordPress, now that Craig's back and talking about what was the
Oh,
plugin?
Buddy Press.
Buddy
Yeah,
Press.
BB Press is the profile, and then Buddy Press is the community. Are you familiar with the Buddy Press plugin?
It's just a way to create a sort of a membership base and a discussion board, and to allow people to share information with each other on your website.
But it's a community.
Yeah.
Drupal has something called, I think, Commons. Do you know Drupal? Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, you know Commons then? Is that what they call their community?
Kind of when I stopped doing all that, kind of when all that kind of started happening, so.
Oh,
Sort of
okay.
it, but,
Yeah, it's a little more complicated than WordPress, I hear. I'm not a tech guy. I have the idea, so I just know what I hear.
Well, as far as the creating a web page, fine, and all that, but correct me if I'm wrong, there's two issues here. One, you have a web page, but how do you get traffic to it? That's issue number one.
Well, that's the purpose of being on broadcast radio.
Yeah, I call up all the time, and I'll say, on this issue on GMOs or whatever, fluoridation, the issue, I'll go 9/11, I'll call up and say, well, check out our links page. It has a wealth of information of documentaries and books and links on whatever the issue, whatever the issue happens to be. Say, or check out the vaccination section or chemtrail section. For more information. I mean, they'll have a guest on, and then the guest doesn't have a website, so I'll call up and say, well, for a whole huge list of great websites, anybody can get more familiar with the issue. And that's something like, for example, WMNF doesn't like to talk about GMOs very often, unless it's just before the March Against Monsanto that they have every twice a year or so.
Talk radio is a great driver of traffic. It is a huge driver.
Talk radio?
Talk radio,
That's
absolutely.
one reason I think that they didn't want me to call in, or Rob didn't like me calling in, is because I pointed out, well, on their meeting minutes on the WMNF's own website, under reports, that they took $3,800 from Whole Foods, which sells GMOs. They won't start labeling them until 2018.
You were holding them accountable.
Yeah, that's dirty money, I told
Made
them.
them squirm. That's
They
why they
did.
don't like you.
I do that kind of stuff a lot, and it's like, well, we're not allowed to talk about internal policies, and other people will say, well, we donated to the site. These are our airwaves. How dare you say we're not allowed to criticize the station? I'm not going to donate anymore, and that's why they are so far behind on their donations. And every time they have a pledge drive,
They are they?
oh, they have been for a long, long time. They're dipping into a lot of their reserves, according to Clay, and. Yeah, and it says for the last few years that every time they have a pledge drive on their website, 70% of our donations are listener supported, and well, that means the other 30% are commercial supported from like Bank of Tampa and Whole Foods and a few others you can check out on their report site. And so, whenever they make the statement on their radio, during their pledge drive, we're on the air only due to donations of listeners like you. Well, they're lying. It's not only. It's 70%, and it's probably even less now, but I have an audit. I have to kind of audit them, just go through their meeting minutes and their IRS Form 990s and look at discrepancies. Oh my gosh, you got paid how much money, Rob Loride? I mean, you can't say that on the air, I'll cut you off.
So what we need to do is make a list of the talk radio stations in our area.
Yeah.
I've got 2 in Inglewood, and
I
then
think 970 is the
Well,
most
that's
popular.
what I started to say too about this webpage. Okay,
Yeah.
you got a webpage for building your movement, or whatever you want to call it, for traffic.
Maybe
But
revamp
then wouldn't
it,
it help to
so.
also have a webpage just for the membership, so that you can do these things? You can post these.
well, we can do that on one site. See, WordPress content management system has the ability to establish tiers of authority.
Okay,
See,
good.
like you can just allow the people that visit to navigate on the site to where we want them to navigate. Then you have another tier of authority where, let's say we get a new person on board and they want to start helping us. We'll grant them a little stronger level of authority to navigate.
Where they can get access to the
Yeah,
phone
yeah, it's just an
numbers.
internal, right. And then we'll have a chat room where the key group of leadership wants to be able to talk and not let the public see. Then we can establish that tier of authority. which is very easy to do on
Well,
WordPress.
why don't you, are you the webpage master?
I could be,
Well, yeah, you have access to the web and take it, yeah.
but, you know, the We Are Changed, Tampa website, that's not WordPress.
But is it the We Are Changed, that's kind of
I mean,
what.
this could be
We have-
something new.
If you want to
Right.
look at the
When I
site
think of We
here,
Are, I could be wrong about this, when I think of We Are Changed, I'm thinking that's a Hillary Clinton. Right?
Well, it's progressive, it's progressive.
Believe it or not, that's kind of where Luke came up with the name for him during the Obama campaign in his early days.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That's where he
So,
came up with
that was
the
I would
definitely
shy away from
2006.
Exactly, exactly. I agree.
Well, see, change in all caps means coalition to halt the agenda of the
Well,
nefarious global elite.
Whatever it, yeah, but whatever it means, it's really kind of irrelevant.
Yeah,
It has a label.
It's been labeled, and it's got a reputation, so I would think you have to go somewhere another.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How about,
I never thought of that. I knew Luke and everything when this got started up. The last thing I ever thought of was associating We Are Changed with liberal Democrats.
I know, that's you though, but the outside, the right wing, the
Yeah.
Tea Party, the sheeple of the Republican Party, the conservative movement, they see that as left wing.
they'll avoid that like the plague.
They'll avoid it, yeah. And it's like Occupy Wall Street. They avoided Occupy Wall Street. They were ignorant though.
Yeah.
I didn't. I knew Occupy Wall Street in its beginning was good.
Right.
It was against the banksters and the financial tyranny.
Right, the focus
Hey,
was.
do we have an end of Fed group down here on Weird or not?
What do you know about?
Well, that's part of our,
It has been part of We Are Changed.
Yes, sir. The agenda we are changed.
So a lot of the
No, I'm
anti,
saying like Steve Elliott ran up north and kind
no, I don't think there
of
was.
directed the whole thing back.
yeah, no, I mean, when they were running those national anti-Fed demonstrations at the Federal Reserve.
Yeah, I helped organize the first one in Philly.
Yeah, I mean, we went up for one in
Hmm.
Jacksonville, and, but since then,
And we do have a blogging forum, not just on Meetup, but also on our webpage. And I put a blog at the bottom of our links page if somebody wants to add a link or comment on a link and say, well, that's, you know, that advises to, well, that's not a really good link. That's not. If they want to comment, they can, but nobody really has. Had a couple or few.
I know.
And I like making. I have, you know, because I haven't had any other input. I've just made it open to everybody. And every once in a while, well, we get spam here and there, not very often. And I just go back every few days and I'll look for it, but I don't find any except every 6 months. I find one or two posts here.
Well, how many unique hits a month like this?
40 a day, at least 40 a day. Lately, it's been around 60. Now I can show you the graph. Yeah, let me log in and show you the
Why
graph
don't
on
you
it.
send a link to it, to our various emails?
Sure, sure. Oh, and I want to tell you that that app I was mentioning is called Record My Call.
Record my call.
Yeah. But I can
Yeah,
show
I
you
told you that.
the wide road.
Yeah, I got that. Thank you.
I'll show you the bar graph that shows the unique hits, and then it shows page views. You might have 120 page views from 140 unique visitors
We use
per day.
Google Analytics.
No, it's built into Weave, part of Weave.
it's just We Are Changed Tampa, right?
Yeah, we are changedtampa.org. So let's all talk, you know, since we exchange information, whoever wants
I'm
to
sure there has
access
a
the
web
site.
page that was devoted to the 9/11 issue, and then you can have a link to it on the website.
Who all here now?
What was that?
You have a webpage, who else here has?
Well, this is the organization
The
page.
No,
org-
I mean individually.
I do. Mine is theliberationstation.com, but I haven't done much of it.
No, I can't figure it out. I can't figure out WordPress.
Well, I mean, is it something else?
No, it's on blog. It's on blog.com.
Blog.com.
Yeah, Obama, the perfect Manchurian.com.
Obama, the first.
No,
Manchurian candidate. I think
It's not hard.
All one word?
Yeah.
And this is, the first one is wearechangetampa-list at meetup.com. Only sends to people who subscribe, but wearechangetampa-announce at meetup.com sends to everybody. So I think that's
Might
right
be blog.
to reach everyone. So this will show, this is a bar graph of our visitors, and if I hover over, let's coordinate here, like 69 visitors on the 16th. That was 2 days ago, was it? Yeah.
What caused that?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, just probably Facebook, you know, I'll go into Facebook.
What about the big spike, the big mountain there? What caused that?
Probably, that was 107 hits, unique hits. And that was probably, I'm going on Facebook all the time and promoting anti-vaccination stuff. The movie Vax that's making the tour of the area, Sarasota, Winter Garden, and, what's the other one around here? But I'm promoting that because it's showing in theaters. Is it Ocala, I think? Anyway, so I'm going on different Facebook groups and saying that, check out our webpage on the links page, and you'll find a lot more. And if you have any to suggest, then please do. And I did have one person on the blog promote their autism parenting magazine, so I added it to the page. So, I like it, how We Are Change has been decentralized. It may not be, but that, yeah, even though.
See, that's the key. Gatekeepers love centralization.
Exactly. And, even though the leadership I've heard about it, and I've never known anybody like you, Craig, who's met and who's dealt with it personally. I've heard about it, but was it We Are Change Oshkosh? Have you seen him? He has a lot of critical things to say about.
Well, like I said, I worked with him a bunch of times, and he's bored, like a total bored. Whenever the opportunity arises for to get a thing on camera, and discuss them. That's why when we did that event with him at Philly, we sent him to the far back corner. He lived there. Where people come out and people go. So we sent him in that.
Does anybody know how Alex Jones is handling his radio show now with call-ins? Is he still allowing frequent call-ins? Not as much, is he?
Martin Kennett's show in that.
Okay, there you go.
Exactly.
And he used to have tons of call-ins.
Exactly. And very anti-Muslim.
Is everybody aware of the webpage called Red Ice?
Mm-hmm.
Red Ice Reports.
Red Ice Creations.
It's out of Sweden, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a very investigating lots of interesting stuff there, and there's a lot of, they go the whole route, the whole gamut of issues, but we got some good ones on 9/11 too.
And we really need to get behind Christopher Bolin.
Yeah.
He is back in the United States, and he's about to launch his summer tour. He's going to be going through Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'm going to meet him up there. And we need to get behind him. He's now kind of shifting gears, and he's going to be focusing more on, what we need to do, and solution-oriented, remedy-oriented, rather than just talking about, who did it and what happened.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yes, he is.
His videos are really grabbed me, like, I haven't been quite the same since I saw his video.
Excuse me.
I like to think we have one of the best links pages, so we'll add those then, Red Ice Creations, and I'm not sure if we have Christopher Bolin on there yet.
Well, send a link to
All right.
WeAreChangeTampa.org.
We Are Changed Tampa.
And then tweetup.com, We Are Change Tampa. Facebook.com, We Are Change Tampa. There's a little hyphen between each word, right?
On Facebook is facebook.com/wearechange.tampa. But if you go to our website, at the very top of our homepage, you'll see the links to the meetup and the Facebook. We're thinking about doing a Twitter account. Kind of limiting when you have 140 characters. It is. And people, I know people can post on your page and you're feeling compelled to respond. Or people are
Twitter is one of those pointless billion-dollar industries. It doesn't make any sense. Like, if you got like a show, you want to promote something, shoot a link out, but unless you have 10,000 followers.
All right. What other ideas did you have for the website?
The website, kind of getting like a news aggregator, kind of like how Federal Jack does.
RSS feed?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't really look too hard through it, but
No, I don't, yeah, we don't have one set up. I don't know how to do that.
yeah. Locally, stuff done locally as well as, other campaign groups around the country, have like a section where people, if they want to write and submit an article, or something like proofread that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, and that can be put up. Small stuff like that. Maybe change the look around a little bit, get more of a, shot page.
Yeah, any little thing. I mean, we haven't had any inputs. I just, I'm going with a template, threw it up a few years ago, and this is graphics that I didn't do. It's just part of, like it's just meant to make it look like, because we're more street activists. That's why I chose that. But there are a lot of other things, a lot of other options. I didn't design this. This is part of the, kind of like, Photoshop type effect that we can do in the website builder. So it makes it look like I spent time on it when I did.
Now, what,
A little bit.
you said you're using Rio for that?
Yeah, Weebly.com. Weebly.com. Mm-hmm. The Japanese. Huh?
What's the hosting cost per month?
Oh, it's free because Weebly's taking care of it.
Weebly hosts it, don't they?
Yeah. And I pay like $14 a year for the domain. The only drawback I've ever seen with it is that every once in a while, every few months, it'll go down. When I notice it's down, it's only down for about 10 minutes, and then it's back up. Yeah, it just doesn't go. Just,
Who are you paying
doesn't find it.
$14 per month?
GoDaddy.
GoDaddy?
Uh-huh.
So you recommend them as a?
I don't. I should transfer the domain because,
They are pricey.
yeah, they're a little more pricey, but, and they supported CISPA and TIPA. Yeah, and then they changed their position on it, but still I don't like the idea that they were supporting government regulating the web, basically, so I should get away from it, just haven't gotten around to going to take the steps to transferring the domain away from them, to like Dotster.com or Hosting, I don't know if anybody. Not good?
Not good.
All right, Network Solutions, I tried, I hated those. Name what?
If they don't like your content, they'll censor you, they'll split your file.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
See, that's the problem when you pay for hosting, you have no control over what service you should know.
I download the website.
If you pay more money.
Well, yeah. I would hope that, the New Jersey website, and the Philly website, I had everything hosted through GoDaddy. I never had any issues with content. I mean, where you put it on home. Like, we let people just post their own shit. Some of the stuff that would come out, like, we had to monitor every, like, few hours to make sure there's nothing really out there.
Yeah.
And you got to a point where you want, I'm shutting people in. I mean, because I don't have time. They're looking.
I like to think that Donald Trump, if ever he wins, given all of the things he's already brought out about the lying press and stuff like that he would be somebody who would support initiatives and legislative initiatives to come in and stop this kind of censorship and allow more freedom, free views. I kind of think that he leans that way. He's been burned, he's been stung by the press. Who else has ever had the nerve to say how lying the press is?
That's right.
Nobody.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, one issue none of the candidates talk about is the Federal Reserve. And of course, we can control our own currency, we can declare our own jubilee, like I explained earlier, but if we had an honest monetary system, and I'm not holding my breath for the government to do it, I'm not going to protest or spend any more time on ending the Fed. Right, yeah.
Has anybody heard?
Well, let me just finish my point, is that if we had an honest monetary system, and we can do it ourselves, as I explained, then we could allow immigrants in, and we could allow them to be screened and go through health screenings, maybe allegiance, background screening, and all that stuff. And I wish that all the candidates, not just Trump, but I wish that that issue would be addressed. That we can all, immigrants and nationals can agree that we need an honest monetary system. We need to eject the banksters and issue our own currencies, and the way I explained it. Then we can have the abundance to make friends with each other, have the patience to talk to each other. If we're going to have a race riot in the neighborhood, well, you're not going to do business with people who haven't done business with you, who've expressed that they're not racist, but ethnicist is the right word, because we're a human race. That's why I like to use the word ethnicist. If somebody is already not polite to you, but don't do business with them, and people are polite, well, that's great. Then you can stimulate the economy and learn from other cultures, get products from across the seas, strange plants that grow elsewhere, and medicinal properties, all these different, learn new ideas and new technologies.
So, what's the wrap up on this?
We're going to feed ourselves before we really die.
What were you going to say, Michael? Trump, maybe?
I'll look at scheduling another meeting like this to follow up and to present more information back on the project.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe in like 2 to 3 weeks.
I did have one question for the group, if anybody could answer this. Has anybody heard anything from Donald Trump's mouth about the Fed?
Oh, yeah, when you're not on the show, when we did that interview. Talked about it a little bit.
I thought it was very limited.
Yeah, it was, he was still in the campaign a little bit.
Yeah.
He did talk minutely about it.
But I don't remember him ever even using the word Fed. Did he use the word Fed, the Federal Reserve, or?
Not that I can remember.
Yeah.
I heard Alex comment that he was criticized for not bringing it up.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I don't think I heard it.
Yeah, I think that's a valid criticism of Alex.
Yeah.
That should have been a no-brainer.
Well, I have other
He
criticisms
opens the show
too.
every single day, bad mouthing the Federal Reserve.
It's like, well, we want to call in and talk about solutions like this. I persuaded him more and more about community currencies, but he said that, well, they'll shut you down, any local food, lemonade stand, or garage sale, gardens in your front yard, they'll shut you down. I said, well, my answer is, I'm sure you'll cover it if it happens. I don't know if it ever happened.
But we're circulating them around. They've got some issues and articles kind of relevant, so.
Another thing with Alex is that, I've brought up and I've tried to bring up when Portland, Oregon won the water fluoridation fight in 2013 by a vote of the people. Before I could mention it, he cut me off. And this other lady tried to do the same thing and they were cut off. He's shouting at me, sue them, sue them, sue them. No, that's never worked before, so he never let me say it.
Problem is, uneducated, self-bred psychopath. Have you ever met him? I met him one time.
Yeah, I think he had me on stage in 2011, in Orlando briefly.
That radio persona is his reality. That's not like show. It's like the real guy he is in real life. So,
I couldn't take
My
that kind
friend
of
is
pressure.
TV compilation.
Yeah.
nuts. Like a straight up nuts.
I just wish any host would take place more. I want to show you that we have a news page, but we can add more RSS feeds. These are the feeds that we have. But we could always add more. I think that draws a lot of people to the website too.
I want to
We post
get
a lot of stuff, a
couple.
lot of original content we did out
What
of
is
Jersey.
he?
Did you? Poppy.
He was
Pop-up.
the guy who's the former firefighter.
For federal jet.
Who was
Oh, right.
the,
Yeah, he's in,
Oh, big tall guy?
Central Florida, I think.
Real pretty blonde wife, kind of
Yeah,
heavy
he's
set.
moved to Central.
Yeah, I guess it really doesn't now, but the best.
Oh, if anybody wants to help edit it, yeah, we'll give you access.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I've spent all the time on it so far, but he has access now, and we're gonna work together more on it. We're talking about ideas.
Well, if you want to come sit down and kind of reorganize that, 'cause that's like.
Yeah, I know.
There's nothing on that page that sometimes says. No, my list is right here, I believe.
It's
Yeah.